All right, guys. I hope you all had a good weekend of studying to close out the week for this week and to get prepared for this week and closing out the week last week. I know the market had a lot of ups and downs. It's been more challenging since Trump tariffs and the Fed and different inflation data has been making the market kind of harder to trade. But that volatility is what helps you make make a lot of money. So over the past 2 weeks, we've been experiencing the VIX over 20. And as I teach, when the VIX is over 20, we're in a day trader's market. You should expect higher swings up and down in the market with the market mostly trending down as the VIX is going up, right? So while you're above 20, especially when you get up toward like 23, 24, you expect, pop-ups, but, harder drops, right? And also you can expect a stock to give you a move and take it all back, not just one time in a day, maybe once or twice in a day. But currently, we're entering back into a swing trader market. If the volatility index stays under 20, you'll notice that you'll start getting. So as a day trader, if you're day trading, you have to adjust and understand this because you're used to the past 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. You've been getting inputs and you've been having more of a aggressive target because the market has been giving you, $4 moves on the spot. So you've been going out of the money and saying, okay, I know it's gonna hit my target. I just got to stay in it and hold it. I think the move is going to drop, so I'm just going to hold it. And then you can be wrong while it's going up, and then it'll turn around and give you that entire move back. And you feel like you're doing a great job as a trader. But as that VIX gets back under 20, especially if it goes back toward 18, those days are over with. You're going to get really small moves. So now when you're scalping as a day trader, you have to come in and you have to take these smaller levels. So instead of you going super aggressive, looking for a 4 point move and getting it all within that trading day, it may take 2 trading days to drop to a certain level, right? So now you guys say, okay, instead of me looking for $4, let me start looking for $2 and $1.50 scalps on the SPY and other stocks. Okay, so as the VIX starts going down, the volatility in the range of these stocks that they're moving, they're going to start making smaller moves, okay? And then you're going to start seeing a lot of people posting their wins, and it's going to be the ones that swing trade, okay? So make sure you get an understanding of how the VIX impacts the market. But today, I just want to go over a few things. First of all, on people that have the wolf chart, you will see this icon at the top left hand corner. You see how you have this update indicators, and you have this little circle icon here. So I did an update to Wolf Levels Pro 10. And what you want to do is just come over here, click on these three dots, and then you see where it's going to say update this script. So you just click that, and then it'll give you the latest version of the script. Okay. So we're going to let it update and pop back on the chart. Okay, so now we see that it put these clouds back on here. So if you didn't have your clouds on here, you have to go back and turn them off. So the way where do you manipulate your clouds on your chart is here. You can uncheck this 12 EMA upper and lower, 200 upper and lower, and then come here and where it says plots background, uncheck both of those. And you'll see I just have now my 200 and my 12 on the chart. So that's where you change that at. What I added to the chart is previously on the older wolf chart, I already had a version of the VWAP on there that I added dynamic color change to, not just the VWAP, but saying the bands as well. But the VWAPs have a dynamic color change system. So I added VWAP to the chart, and so this way, if you wanted it to be orange while you were above it and have it flip to red or whatever color, you can use that. Normally, I would just set it to one color, but you do have the option of having a dynamic color change. And so now, if we look at our chart now, so let me drop down to a lower time frame so we can see um, what that looks like now. So we're going to come down here to the 5 minute on Amazon. so we can take a look at it. So this version of the VWAP that I put on here is this orange line, and it automatically will anchor itself to the opening candle for you, right, on whatever time frame that you go to. So if we went to the 15-minute, it's going to auto anchor itself, right? And so we can use this VWAP. And the reason why I added this on here is because a lot of traders are using ORB, and when you're trading with ORB, you want to have access to the VWAP to see, you know, what I'm saying, where the price action is when we're trying to flip to an uptrend. Um, so you can better your odds if you're trying to place quick scalps from the 5-minute and the 15-minute. Okay, so we added the VWAP to the chart, but what I want to show you guys today is how, if you're going to trade ORB, you have one of the greatest tools available to retail investors created, which is this chart. Because most traders, they trade ORB and they have like maybe a 30% win rate or something like that. Some of them higher. But you know, so you getting into trades based off of just this first candle. But you know, a lot of times you get fake outs. You know what I'm saying? You get fake false breakouts, false breakdowns, and so you'll lose on a lot of those trades. But if you have a certain setup with the wolf chart, because this chart is very flexible. So you have the original setup, but if you have access to this chart, you really have access to, I mean, pretty much all charts. You Because this chart is so flexible. So, for example, if I want to set up for an ORB setting with the wolf chart, you have more available to you on this chart. So all you would have to do is say, okay, if I want to create a layout, so I would say if I want to maintain this wolf chart, but I wanted to also make myself a ORB specific chart, I can just go to create new layout, and so we can just call this wolf ORB setup, right? So we name it that. And so in this layout, what we'll do is clean the chart up, some of the order blocks up a lot, right? So we can come back, since you already have access to Wolf Levels Pro. I mean, Wolf Levels Pro 10, right? And so we'll come in here, we'll grab that, and then I'll add my Wolf chart back on here as well. Let me see. So we'll add the 2.1 back on here, but we'll go in here and tweak some things. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to tweak these clouds. Let's come in here and turn off these clouds. And we're going to turn these back on because you will need them, but we're going to turn them off for now. Okay. So we turned off the clouds, and that's all we're going to turn off inside of Wolf Levels Pro. And inside of it, so then we can double click on these supply and demand zones. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck the internal order blocks, and I only want to see the strongest order blocks. Since I'm on a lower time frame, I only want to see the swing order blocks. These swing order blocks are the strongest order blocks out of the order blocks. Okay, our internal order block, it just shows you continuation of a trend. When they're at, so if a stock is in an uptrend, it's showing you where they bought the dip. And then the swing order block is actually showing you if we were in a strong downtrend, when the money came in that actually reversed the trend from an uptrend to a downtrend. So these are stronger order blocks. So I'm going to uncheck my internal order blocks, and that's going to take a lot of these order blocks off of the chart. And so now that we have that unchecked, we're going to also come down here and let me see. So we got additional moving averages that you can add to your chart if you wanted to add like a 9 EMA, 50, things like that, 200, 13, whatever you want to add. You can check these boxes and add additional moving averages. Okay. So now that we have the chart kind of simplified, okay, so then we're also going, let me go back to Wolf Levels Pro, and then I'm going to just clean up my trend lines because I only want to see the most current trend line that's going to be in use. Okay, so now I have my chart set up like this. So this is a skinny version of the Wolf chart, right? So I got less order blocks. I have my VWAP on here. I still have my Wolf trend moving average. and um, we have our 200 on here. So for now, just for this example, I'm going to take off the wolf trend moving average, and I'll show you where that comes in on how when I trade stuff similar to ORB, I'll show you how I use it. So now we're on Amazon's 5 minute. So when you're setting up a true ORB chart, so a lot of people use the first 5 minute candle, right? So let's look at the first 5 minute candle, which is this candle, and we're going to go and we're going to put a box around this candle because that's our first 5 minute candle. And so we're going to grab it and we're going to drag this over to here, right? All right, so we got our first 5 minute candle. We're going to drag that on across. But the other thing people miss out is getting the pre-market high and low. So then what you want to do is you want to come down here and flip from regular trading hours to extended trading hours. Okay, so this is going to give you your range, right? And so this is very important. You will see as I do these examples why this range is so critical for you to know when you're having a true breakout or when your stock is just simply range bound. And so you can take profit at the top and bottom of the range. So now I'm going to take so what I'm doing here, I'm going to pre-market, and you can tell what the pre-market is because it has this tan looking color. And so this is the highest candle in pre-market. And this one right here, so this right here is intraday on this candle, but this is our highest candle. Our lowest candle. So we can click here, and I'm gonna grab the highest candle here all the way down to the low, this candle, which is there. And I'm gonna drag that all the way over to here. All right. So now let me flip back to regular trading hours. And so now I have these two boxes, right? So what I'll do now is I'm gonna flip. I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna fill this 5 minute candle with a different color, maybe like a blue. Right? 'Cause I want to differentiate between these two, and I might change this color like to yellow or something. Right? All right. So now we got our first 5 minute candle here, and then we got our pre-market high and our pre-market low. Right? All right. So now we have these levels on the chart, and so you can see. Look at the price action. We broke above this ORB on this 5 minute candle, but look where we stopped at. We came right here. We tapped this intraday resistance, but we were grinding on top and retesting the pre-market highs for the rest of the day, right? So now that you have this range on here, you see how, so we captured VWAP, we captured the 12 EMA, we pushed up, we hit it, but this whole time now we're under the what, 200. So the 12 never got fully above that 200, which showed you that it was going to pull it back down because your moving average never got back on top of the 200. So we pull it down, push back up to the top of this box. So if you pay attention to this resistance, look where it rejected at. It didn't hit this intraday, like normal regular trading hour line. It pushed up and it wicked off of what? The pre-market high, right? Came down. We pushed all the way back down, and we finally got a retest of VWAP and had confluence with the 5 minute, first 5 minute candle ORB. This was the retest of that box and VWAP. We opened and closed the candle back above VWAP, shot back up, opened and closed back above the 12 EMA, which showed that we recaptured the short term trend and mounted above this resistance. Now, what's the problem with most people's ORB? They get in, but they don't know where they're going, right? So what's your edge if you know and you have pinpoint accurate support and resistance levels on your chart for you? You know where to actually get out of the trade at, right? You know when you're going to actually have confluence on historical support and resistance when you pull it back and retest something with confluence like the first ORB candle, the 5 minute candle, and you're sitting and testing resistance and support, and you're retesting your VWAP, right? And then so when is the actual trend recaptured? Now we have the 12 EMA and the 200 EMA. We're on top of both of them. And so that's what put Amazon in a better breakout scenario because we actually recaptured the trend, right? So let's look at another example of that same thing. So now let's flip to extended trading hours, right? And we're still going to get that first intraday candle, which is here. This right here, let's take the pre-market high and low. So we got, this is the highest candle here. Where is our lowest candle? So this is our lowest candle here. So let's pull this over. And this is our low down here. So we're gonna pull this over and we're gonna capture our pre-market high and low with that box. And then when we flip to intraday, this is our intraday candle there. So let's pull this over and grab another box. And so we get this candle here, pull it over. So this is Apple's range. And when it has a real breakout, I'm talking about a true breakout, not just off of a 5 minute candle, but when it's really finna break out, you will know it if it gets above the pre-market high and it's also above your 200 and your 12 EMA. That's when you know that you're in a serious breakout. So let's go back and flip to regular trading hours since we got the information we needed. Okay, so this box is accurate, right? And so here we have, let's see, we need to change the color of this box to blue, pull it across. So now when we come in, we see something pretty cool about this setup in particular is because our 5 minute candle is in a older demand zone. So we already have confluence that's showing us that we have a strong opportunity to bounce because since we filter out our order blocks, we're not dealing with any just regular weaker internal order blocks. We're dealing with the swing order blocks, the same block that Apple popped out of. If you look to the left of your chart and shot all the way up to 218, look what happened over here. We got a retest of these same stronger order blocks, and we shot up from here all the way to what? 218, right? Rinse and repeat at the same move. And so now if we zoom in and look at our ORB settings, right? We got our pre-market high and low here, right? So we'll put this back over. Let me flip back and make sure I didn't move them off. All right. So now when we flip back to the regular trading hours, let's see. So we get above our ORB box right here. So we got open and closed candles above it. So we're above what? Our VWAP and our 12 EMA. So we recaptured the 12. We hadn't broke above this ORB and open and close account. So anytime you're doing ORB, what you're looking for is strong candles, like a candle to open up with the wick, the entire body and wick of the candle closing above the price to show you that it's trying to conquer that price. So now we got the open and close candle here, and it also opened and closed above the short trend moving average, which is the 12. So then we just came back down, grinded on our 12, but what are we under? We're under the 200. So our first target automatically becomes that 200. So you exiting at your 200, right? And you pulling back, you're retesting not only the VWAP, but you got confluence. You got three things going on here. You're coming back and retesting historical support, right? VWAP, and you're at very strong demand zone. So this is a great opportunity if you're playing ORB to enter in at the retest of VWAP because of you're not just retesting at VWAP, you're retesting at a demand zone, VWAP, and historical support and resistance, right? So then we pop out of this zone again, and what signal that we were going to make a bigger move? We got open and closed candles, full body and wick above the 200. Our 12 got above our 200. And so now we push up, hit our target to the penny, which is the benefit of having very accurate support and resistance already on your chart. Pushed up, hit it to the wick, right to the penny, hit our level. That's a take profit. We came back down, retested this time what the 200, but also confluence with the historical support line. Open and close candle back above the 12 EMA, but more importantly, we got a liquidity grab breakout. We got a trend line here pushing. So this next time when we got an actual floating candle confirmation from the wolf chart, we got a floating candle confirmation on the wolf chart. And so we breaking this trend line and then we're grinding up, and that will signal this parabolic move, and you coming into a plus trade setup right here between this line and this supply zone up here. See that? So this is how you can see when real moves are happening versus false breakouts, because you need to know more information when you're under your 200. You're having uh, resistance. This has to be your target, even though you're getting above that uh, ORB 5 minute candle range, right? Your target has to be a short-lived target because you're what, under the 200. Because if you're in calls while you're under the 200, you have to scalp it to that level, let it pull back. But once it gets above here, then you're trying to run it up higher. But to see when momentum is going to come in and you getting a true breakout, this is what this trend line is doing for us. So we got a trend line from a swing high. We came down, made a higher low, right? So you got to look at this move. We made a higher high, higher low, higher high, which is that swing high, which created this trend line. We made the higher low, and then when we broke it, we got a floating candle confirmation. It means we conquered this trend line. All this on this other side of this trend line is liquidity to be grabbed, and we pushed up and broke out, and we got into the A plus trend range and shot up. Did exactly what we did over here, basically. All right, so let's look at the SPY. So what's the first thing we're going to do? Before we do anything, we're going to flip to what? We're going to flip to extended trading hours, right? So we're flipping over to extended trading hours, and what are we going to get from over here? The only thing that's important. So when you're trading during the day, you don't live. If you trade and you see your screen, it looks like this, and this is the only thing you see all day long, and you're trading in a on a setting that will kind of throw off your chart. You know what I'm saying? You can't. All this low volume is going to misplace your 200, your 12 EMA, whatever EMAs you're using. So you don't want to just trade all day in extended trading hours. You want to trade during the daytime on regular trading hours down there. So we're going to grab the high, which is here, and then we're going to grab the low, which is this lowest candle. Pull this over. Boom. That's all we want. And then we want to get the first 5 minute candle. Let's grab that while we're in here. And so let's grab it and get the low of it here. And then we'll flip that color to anything other than what that other color is, right? So we'll flip that one to orange since the other one came out blue. So now we're done with extended trading hours for that one. So now we come over here. Let's drag that across. So now we have our ORB level, right, for our 5 minute candle. And what are we're waiting on getting over this range and holding above that range. But look, so let's look at this again. So if we zoom in, where did we hit? We came in as giving us our range on SPY. What gave us our range? Did that ORB candle give us our range? No, it gave us a small range where we could break out and get a breakout. But where's our trading range coming from? Look at this entry. This is not extended anymore. We took the pre-market high and the pre-market low, and look at the price action. We pushed down to the bottom here. We hit our support and resistance lines, and look where it tapped, maxed out at. We came up here and we hit the 200 and we hit the top of the pre-market high. So we were locked in this box on SPY all trading day, right? And so even though we recaptured the VWAP here and the 12, if you'd have been disciplined, you'd have been taking profit at your targets after the 5 minute candle breakout. You know what I'm saying? We had some price action, but we would have had to take your profit at the pre-market high or the 200 because this was the box you were stuck in. So that's going to show you a realistic range that you could be stuck in trading, right? When you see this this pre-market high and low. So let's look at another one like QQQ. So what are we? So we flipping here. We just grabbing the high and the low, right? So we going to the peak of this candle. So this is the highest candle. That's the lowest candle, right? So we grab that, and then we're just going to grab while we're in here the first 5 minute candle, which is here. Want to grab the high and the low of that. High, low. Flip back to regular trading hours. We're going to change the color of this box to something, right? You can do purple. Now, so now we have our VWAP here. So we're on top of VWAP, right? But we're under what? We're under our 200, and we're also under our pre-market high. And just look at your price action. So we come up, we recapture VWAP, and VWAP is taking us to try to help us recapture the 12 EMA. So we have a break above. So when did we get our first open and close candle? It was this candle, right? So we got to count the open and close above the VWAP and the ORB level. Then we come back down and retested the VWAP after we showed strength here. We got a candle come down and test the VWAP. We pushed up, and why is this choppy? We look at our range. We hit strong resistance here, right? Now this resistance is not coming from anywhere. Look at this. This is a resistance level that's been on the chart for a while. It's a historical level. We came down here, wick to it, shot up. So we came back up here for the first time. What? We rejected, came back down, came back to this next heavy level. Look at that. This is where we came down and bounced from last time. That's another take profit or scalp opportunity. You bounce off VWAP, hit your next target. This time we pushed down, but we never lost VWAP. We just got candle. We never had an open and close candle under VWAP, and we're just retesting support, the VWAP, and the top of this ORB candle. And then we finally get a strong, we got fair value gaps and open and close candles above the 12 and the VWAP. And so we push up, but look what we're hitting now. We're facing that 200, these the top of the pre-market high and low range, and we got a lot of historical support and resistance. So all this is decent trade range, but you're stuck in a what? Choppy trade range right here, right? Every time spot gets in this range, it's a choppy QQQ gets in this range, it's a choppy price range. And then you have your A plus trade here. So look at that. Look at that big breakout. And look where we ended the day. We finally broke above with an open and close candle, the pre-market high. And so now what are we the 12 is crossing up with an upward slope, right? It's sloping up, crossing over the 200. The VWAP is sloping up. And now we finally in the A plus trail range where it has the potential to coming back down, retesting 480 or so. If no bad news or anything comes out, and it's trying to head to this A plus range where it can run up these $4. You see that? So now you can have a realistic trade plan with realistic targets versus just trying to have the fastest hands in the West. You know, so you can actually see, okay, what's realistic? Where's the A plus trade? Where are my targets? And what am I waiting for? So now the other part. So what I use when I'm trading is I always use my pre-market high and low. I rarely use this first 5 minute candle because I lean on the wolf trend moving average because it's going to show me uh, reversals. So just like we have the VWAP here, right? So I got a crossover signal, right, on my wolf trend moving average. So look at that. We got confluence with the first ORB candle, right? So we come back down. I get a crossover signal here. That's my entry for calls. I push up. I'm hitting this target, and I'm coming straight to my 200, right? But then when the move is losing momentum, I got a crossover here for puts. We push back down, right? So you can see how I got a signal here. I got a signal here, right? Crossover, confluence with the VWAP, and then we're pushing up and we're hitting these targets with the wolf trend moving average. And so this is going to help you to also filter out false breakouts. So if you have a ORB setup, and say you come down here and you see your wolf trend moving average crossing over, leading into this break and retest. So now you know, okay, now I got actual smart money is getting involved in this transition because the wolf trend moving average is integrated and coded with smart money in it. So if you pay attention to it on your chart, it's always in harmony with your breaker structures and your change of characters with your smart money concepts. So when you see a change of character, you seeing your crossover pulling back down, you seeing your breaker structures. If you go down to like a even bearish moves, so you're going to get those crossovers pushing you down. Like here, we got a lower low. We got a breaker structure here. We cross back up, cross down to push down to get that breaker structure. So it's in perfect harmony with smart money concepts, right? So it's almost it's a visual line that simplifies smart money concept. You're participating in change of characters and breaker structures and higher highs and higher lows with this moving average without having to understand the complexities of all this other stuff, right? So even here, before this big move happened, before we broke pre-market highs, what do we get? Look how early the signal detection is. We got our crossover here, right? And so we could time our entry. We got our crossover on this candle. We could have entered in on this candle and look at that parabolic move was signaled before traditional people with moving average came in with their money. We already got the signal here, right? Just like here, before we had this big drop, we got the signal here, crossed over, and then we got this big drop, right? So we're coming in, we're getting in before people with traditional moving averages or are just depending on VWAP and things like that because you're over VWAP, but okay, you're over VWAP, but what next? Like you're over VWAP, but when do you enter again? We see that you're over VWAP, but when is your next entry, right? If you're waiting on the open and close candle, we're using the 12 EMA. That'll be way up here at 480 versus way down here at 478 to participate in the move, right? So the VWAP is going to let you know when the bias is leaning toward bulls. If you're above it, the market is leaning bias like bullish, right? In the short term. But okay, you're over the VWAP, but when do you actually get into the trade, right? And so even if you get a break and retest, you got to break, you got to retest, and then you got to break again. So now that the play is pushed back down, when do you re-enter into the trade is the riddle, right? Most people is going, okay, so when do I get back in? So when do I actually get in, right? And so the reason why I coded the wolf trend moving average is because it solves that problem. When do I get back in? When you get this arc, this inverse arc pattern here, it comes under the price, crosses over its signal line, and you get this open and close candle. It puts us back into the trade to go and test the levels, right? And if you didn't exit at your historical support and resistance line, once you get a candle back closing back in the inside of this, it's already telling you the momentum is finna shift out. So how do I know that this is aligned with smart money? Is we can just test it out. So let's look at this. So we can leave the wolf trend moving average on. I'm gonna take levels pro off for a second, and let's go in here, and we're gonna leave the 200 on there, and I'm gonna clean the chart up. Let's clean this up. Clean that up. All right. So now we just had the wolf trend moving average on here, and let's turn on our internal order blocks and see. So look how when we're near or in order blocks, right? So look at this. We're in this order block up here, and then look at the wolf trend moving average. It's at the smart money order block. And if you know anything about using smart money concepts, you know that this swing order block will pop up after, right? It's going to pop up after you get the change of character. So you will have the price action dropping, but this actual swing order block will not appear on your chart until you break this low to signify that it was enough money that came in so aggressive that it changed this uptrend and you actually broke this higher low and formed a lower low, right? And then it's going to, once this candle close and it confirmed this change of character, it's going to put this structure here. So it's going to put this block up here. Now, this happened at 8:30 on March 18th. The Wolf Trend moving average came here and arced in this at this area on the 17th, right? A whole day ahead of time. And it showed you where they were at, right? So this moving average will come in to the zones. Look at this. They bought the dip here. My moving average was already here. They made a swing order block here. It was already here before this structure locked in place up here, right? So that's minutes up to an hour ahead of the SMC indicator, right? And so you want to make sure you're using this because it is an elite style moving average for quick trend reversals if you have access to it. And so that's how I recommend you guys do your ORB so that when you're getting inside of a range, you can understand, okay, what is the trading range for today? And when do I know we're going to really have a breakout on a stock, or is it just going to be range bound? So you're really going to know that you're going to have a breakout if you get above that pre-market high, or if you know you're going to have a really strong breakdown is when you get under that pre-market low. And you use this arc confirmation as confluence onto when to time your entries and exits and use the historical support and resistance lines. So with this chart, it's a chameleon. It could be whatever you want it to be, right? Because the bread and butter behind everything is you have your historical support and resistance lines giving you every target that you need to know when to go aggressive and when we're finna be choppy and stuck in a range. You can see it ahead of time and you can plan accordingly, right? You can simplify, you can add your own moving averages to the chart and come up with, if you have a strategy, but you just say, okay, man, I just need uh some moving averages on my chart. I want to put the 9, the 20, the 50, and the 200, right? Say you wanted these moving averages on your chart. You can just check these on there like that. Go here. So we already got the moving averages checked. And this way you can come here and I know you can have whatever color you want. So if we take these off, now you have a whole completely different setup, right? And say you order blocks and things like that was too complicated. You only want to see the strongest order blocks if you were going to have them on your chart, right? And so if we had, yellow, blue, purple, and black, right? For that, and we can go here to the style tab and change the width of these moving averages, right? Mhm. Hold on, now it's the 50. That's what I was thinking about. 9, 20, 20, 50. I got the 50 on there. So now look at this. Now you have the 9, 20, 50, and the 200 on here on your chart. So now you have a completely different EMA setup with VWAP on here, right? That you can still trade. And if you want to flip to dark mode to be able to see your lines better, now you have a whole nother setup, right? With your 50, your 9, your 20, and your 200, which it would have to be white in this mode, right? But you could have that same setup and so now you had a wolf chart and you have another custom chart, but it's a suite of products built inside of this chart that gives you everything you need to in order to trade is the point. So now you have your 200 on here, your 9, your 20, your 50, and your VWAP. And so now you have a whole nother chart that you can set up now, right? You can now come in here if you need to have uh different color resistant lines because you're in the dark mode, then you can flip the color of that. And now you have a completely different chart setup and strategy, but the bread and butter is still there. You still have your demand zones and you still have your supply zones, and you know exactly where all the targets are. And if you wanted to take advantage of early trend detection, and then you would just have to go into your settings over here and you can throw on the wolf trend moving average. And so now you can see, okay, we have VWAP, we got the arc, inverse arc confirmation. It's time to go because now you got the arc crossing VWAP, crossing the 50. That's sniper mode. Before you even come back down here anywhere near this 9 to lose the 9, look how early, look how far ahead of the 9 EMA the wolf trend moving average is, letting you know that this thing finna get smoked out. So you got your 9 way down here. You got the wolf trend way up here. Crossover, we down right back to the 50 and historical support, right? We got the 9 right here, this yellow line, but you got the crossover down here signaling that move up ahead of the 9. We got above the 9 here to join in, but look how much quicker this is. It's extremely quick with reversals, right? Up here, we got our crossover here, and we push down, and it's crossing that 9, crossing that 50, and give you more confluence. So it's just it's a good system, and it's a chameleon. It could be become whatever you want, right? The way I have the wolf chart set up um, is designed to the way I have it set up on the original way. It's designed to help you to track smart money, and we just do everything with smart money. We participate and trade with them at all times. And so smart money is designed to build traps and things like that to take our money. What the wolf chart does is it detects all it's for us to detect all their traps and participate in the traps with them. And so we're avoiding their traps, but at the same time participating in their traps with them. So when they're trapping people, we're trapped. We just okay, yeah, we see the trap, but when y'all ready to take this thing up, we're gonna go up with you, right? So that's the whole purpose of it. So I hope you all enjoyed this training. Just remember that even if you're using that first 5 minute candle, to also jump over to the extended trading hours and grab that pre-market high and low and use other things in confluence with it. You know, I was testing out the ORB, and I was trying to show you. I mean, when I did the 200 cloud, before I go, I'll show you all this. So the reason why I did that is if we go back to another simple ORB setup. So let's go here, and I just want to show you all something right quick. So we'll go here and we'll turn off the wolf trend moving average for a second and the 12 EMA, and we're just going to deal with just having a 200 in VWAP for ORB, right? And so I'm going to turn on these two, and I'm going to come over here and change both of these to the 200. So now if I change this to a 200, change this to a 200, and so I'm going to change this to so it came in, so this SMA and the EMA, right? And we're going to make both of these, well, let me see, what's that, the EMA. We're going to make the EMA black, and we're going to make the SMA purple, okay? So let's do that. All right. So now we have the WMA, the EMA, and the SMA 200 on our chart, right? And so the reason why you want to know where these are on your chart, no matter what you're trading. So if we come here now and look at something like Netflix, right? We're just gonna pull this up and keep everything the same. And okay. So now, so look, we have the 200 SMA, the 200 EMA, the 200 WMA, right? All these different 200s, right? And so let's do our ORB setup for this. I really want to take these support and resistance lines off for a second. Let me take that off. Okay, so yeah, that's cleaner. All right. All right, so now we just have the swing order blocks and some other things on here. So let's go back and let's do our ORB testing, right? So we come here, we get Netflix pre-market high and low. They had a weird looking pre-market. Let's see, we got it here. We'll come all the way down to that level for the low, and then we'll come out. See, first 5 minute candle is pretty crazy. So we come here, get the 5 minute candle, drag that here, change the color on that to green. All right, so let's flip back. All right, so look, when we got so this is how you see when you're going to have like really strong moves is when you can get above the 200, right? So we're above the 200 and VWAP, and we just did a retest. But see, we're above every version of that 200, right? So this is the EMA, the SMA, and the WMA. So when we got above everything, the reason why having order blocks on your chart, especially the swing order blocks, is look, we had this level here since what March 20th. If you look at the bottom of my chart, down here at the bottom, that level's been on here since March 20th. It popped up, hit that level, and it dropped like a rock, right? So we come back down. The pre-market high and the ORB high have similar prices, right? So we came here, we pushed down. We got under every version of that 200 when we pushed down. And so we got down, we pushed down just a little bit. We got back above it and we were pushing down. We tested the WMA, then we came and tested the SMA. We came down and tested VWAP. We pushed back again. But look at how all these versions of the 200 are getting price action. So we got stuck on top of the WMA here. We bounced off the WMA here. We didn't even come down and touch the EMA, right? But then we come back to the VWAP, came back right above the SMA, grinded on top of the WMA, lost VWAP and bounced off what the EMA, right, for an entry, and we pushed back up and got back above all of them again. So you see all that price action that the 200s are getting. So the reason why I created the the cloud indicator is that so we can know when we have a strong trend and when we're above all the versions of the 200. You see how now if I turn on the 200 cloud, it encompasses every version of the 200 within it. So when we breach that cloud at the top of it, you see how we get these strong moves and push up because if you look at it, we look back above through this chart, look what happens when you clear every version of the 200. So we're above the EMA, the SMA, and the WMA and VWAP. And look how parabolic that move gets. Came back down, retested VWAP, and pushed up again. But look how strong the move is when you're above all versions of that 200. When you're above that cloud, stuff can get crazy quick. When you lose, so we're under the WMA, we're under the EMA, and we're under the SMA here. And look at that drop. So it's great trend detection. And look how it avoids the false breakouts. We got back above VWAP, but we pushed into this range. So it's giving us a dynamic moving uh, resistant range because we have every version of the 200. And so if you can't get faked out because why? Even though it's pushing up and holding VWAP, you're getting smothered by this range because you're under the WMA. Even though you're above, so say you had the 200 EMA on your chart, you're like, okay, we back above the 200 EMA. It's time to go up. Well, now because you're under the 200 WMA and you're fighting the 200 SMA. So since you can see that, you know that, okay, this is a time where I can pop up and take profit. We push back down. That's a big drop because you're under every version of it. But so now when you see an open and close candle above VWAP and you're 200, and look at that cross. They crossed the 200, all the 200s. It got above all of them. Look at that. Now that's when you have a real uptrend shift. You can see it clear as day. So this is why I innovate and make technology like this and indicators like this is to give us the edge. And we have the edge. And so all it is a learn, you got to learn a little bit, study. But other than that, I'm going to keep making things that make sense and make trading easier for everybody. I appreciate y'all time.